chat, welcome back. Of course, Derby Day was yesterday, and the result was, I'd say, relatively positive. Now, it's one of those games, one of the few games this season we've walked out of and said, how have we not won that? In my opinion, it was our game for the taking, but we just didn't take it. It was a shame, really. If anything, we was lucky to actually draw the game, because despite us looking like we were winning the game, at the start of the game, we was unbelievably poor, to the point where I thought, Christ, this is going nowhere. But anyways, as you can see, they scored really early on, and must I say, their 2 goals were definitely our fault. The defending was absolutely piss poor in the first half an hour or so, and it led to these goals, and it really, it didn't seem to rattle us as much as I thought it would have done, so credit to the boys for that. But at the same time, we really need to be doing better. The first goal I thought Woodman could have done better with. Maybe if he's put 2 hands to it or a stronger hand, it might have taken a deflection out, but I'm not too sure. The second one, again, it's piss poor. Liam Lindsay is in his post-match interview has since come out and said he takes responsibility for them, and he did have a part to play, so I really respect and appreciate him doing that. But in terms of our goals, Brady's goal, fucking screamer. At first I thought it was a cross, but every time I watch it back and I see he's behind the ball and the way he whips it, the more I'm thinking it was actually intentional, so credit to him. And with Reese's goal, I must say, the keeper knocked it in with his leg, and it somehow counted for Reese, but we won't complain. But yeah, as it stands, 2-2, second half, I thought it was our game to take, but Blackburn were playing for the draw, and they managed to do that successfully like we did against Norwich. So for the first time in a while, we've had 16 shots, 8 on target, and the most possession in a game where they've had fuck all. Like, literally, fuck all of the spells, and we've had good passing accuracy. When it comes to yellow cards and red cards, surprisingly in this game, a derby, no cards were given, which was, again, surprising. But coming down, let's take a look at the table now. This moves us up to 9th, no defeats in the last 5, which is good form. Sunderland's result didn't go their way, so we move above them, but everyone else's results went their way, so we continue to trail them. Blackburn moving down to 17th. Lovely stuff, I love to see it. Okay, let's take a look at the player ratings then, shall we? Continue with the ad blocker. Woodman a 6, was alert early doors to stop Gallagher, but then beaten twice in the first half as Blackburn got in from behind. Similar to what we did at the start of the season in the second half of games, I must say. Got a hand to the opener, didn't really have a save to make after that. Story 5.5. Schmadic's got in behind and away from him for the opener in tough early exchange for P&E. Settled after that, limited Rovers to few chances. Lindsay 5.5. Another big shift like Story. He improved as the game went on. Some key moments of defending, but will be disappointed in his role in Gallagher's goal, even though there were appeals for offside. I thought it was offside at first, but I don't know. Hughes a 6, run himself to the ground, battled hard after going off with an injury only a few days prior. Surprised to see him starting. Miller a 7, got more into the game as it went on and asked questions in the closing stages with his directness. Flipped from right to left, had 1 low shot save first half. I couldn't believe how much you were bouncing between the left and the right side. 1 minute I look on the left, it's Brady. 1 minute I look on the right, it's Miller, and then look back to the left and Miller's on the left. It's like the guy runs everywhere, it's insane. Whiteman a 7. Kept his composure after the first 2 goals and ended up putting in a solid midfield performance. Preston had the better of it in the middle of the pitch for large parts. Brown 6.5, dug deep on Derby Day, but doing both sides of the game. Some sloppy moments at times, and the pitch weren't helping either side's passing. It was very bobbly, and he saw a late header, which we all thought was the winner, saved. So their keeper did very well to keep him out. Brady a 7, got Preston back in the game with a fantastic first goal for us. Hadn't been at his best before that, but put in another committed display. And I must say, this probably is the best game Brady's had for us since we first signed him. I remember when we first signed him, a lot of people were saying Brady thinks the levels ahead of everyone else. And just since then, and especially since that Luton game last year, Brady's been absent from the team completely. But today, it must have been the Rovers shouting all those dingle chants at him. But yeah, if that's what fueled him, then fair fucking enough, because he didn't let him forget it. It was a screamer of a goal, and it was a fantastic display from Brady. I must say, very, very well done. And for once, Twitter's very positive about the lad. So long may that continue. Mads a 7, showed his quality in spells and wanted the ball throughout. Killer pass didn't always come off, but he kept trying. Carried out his defensive duties very well. Reese a 7, some excellent work with his back to goal, sharp first touch movement to get forward facing. Was in the right place at the right time for the second goal, even though the keeper's leg was the one to get it over the line. Wilkie 5.5. Poor back pass which punished for Blackburn's opener. Kept his head up after that and linked the game nicely at times. Keep going, Leighton Stewart a 6, another 20 minutes of match action under his belt, got the right areas, just the chance didn't fall. Osmate 5.5 on for the final 10, but couldn't provide the impact he had hoped for. McCann a 6, added some freshness during the closing stages, when most players were shattered, filled in down the right to allow Miller to shift over to the left. Lovely stuff. And I must say, McCann, I don't think he's sort of like, he's not built for the role of right wing back as much as Ryan Law says he is. I didn't really get a lot convincing out of his performance yesterday, but then again, each to their own, I suppose. Right, let's see what Ryan Law says. It's a good point in a local derby. I think you have to pay the opposition some respect. No, you fucking don't, which I always do. But it is frustrating, definitely, because when we got 2 goals back, there was only one team who looked like winning it, and that was us. We were camped out in their half and we mixed it up a little bit. We are disappointed with the first 2 goals. Both teams were out on their feet at the end. But look, when you're 2 goals down and you get it back to 2-2, you've got to be pleased with a point, which we are, but we definitely should have taken the game. To be unbeaten with 3 wins and 2 draws, the points are on the board. I thought the lads were fantastic in sticking to it, and it ended up being a bit of a dog performance. It was heavy, the pitch, and both teams were tired. The resilience and the character of them to keep going, it was a great finish from Rob to get the first one, and then Emil bundles the second one. I was thinking, okay, game on, let's go. And at our time, I gave them some clear messages to get on the front foot and be brave, which, to be honest with you, as soon as we went 2-0 down inside 20 minutes, I thought it was game over, because when Ryan Law said a couple of months ago that 2-0 down's a hard scoreline to come back from, borderline impossible along those lines, I thought, are you having a laugh? I can't remember what game it was, but to see that sort of resilience from the boys was fantastic, I think, and it shows that anything's possible in football. We did that and then limited them to 2 shots in the second half, which shows our intent to go and win the game. It was probably just lacking a moment in the final third when bodies were tired. I don't want it to be disrespectful, but you could see that one team was trying to push on and win, and that was us. They still had a threat on the counter, and you've got to be careful, but I thought there was just going to be one more moment for us, especially at Deepdale with a full house. So yeah, a point in the right direction, but a frustration in there as well. And on the importance of the calmness on 2-0 down, Law added that is the thing. You know what? There was a calmness in the stadium from our fans as well, which is massively pleasing. In a local derby, it can easily get frustrated at all the bodies for the players. When there's calmness in the stadium, if there is not, then there is no calmness on the pitch, and then everyone stops being calm. But I just stood there and I knew. They didn't open us up for the goals. There is one good ball down the side and a good finish for the second, but the first one we get the ball away, our defender is flat-footed and Schmodix gets on the end of it. But there was no panic from us. There were a lot of calmness because I knew we'd get opportunities. Half-time probably came too soon for us, but we went out again in the second half and had to go and get 3 points. Now, I believe it's on Sofa's score, which we don't often use here because I don't agree with half of their ratings based on it being stat padding. But they have a nice little graph called momentum, and that will show you when when the team is behind the ball and when they are moving on the ball the most. So let's take a look at the Blackburn game, shall we, and assess our momentum in that game, because from memory, when I was told, yeah, look at the momentum here. The momentum was fucking through the roof, apart from those first 20 or so minutes when they scored from errors of us, which it looks like that's what they were trying to do, just wait for an error. Everything else, apart from these little dips, was us. We have not had attacking momentum like this, as far as I'm aware, at any point this season, apart from maybe the start of the Ipswich game. And I gotta say, look at all the momentum here, especially towards the end. It's like you could tell we were pushing to try and win the game, so every credit to the boys. It's just a shame we didn't have the quality to get it over, but then again, like you say, there were tired bodies, mistakes were being made here and there, the pitch were bobbly as well, which isn't an excuse, but of course when it's fucking up passes for both sides, it can't be ignored. It's one of those games where you thought, shit, we should have won this, but at the same time, you look at it and you go, well, we haven't won it, because there was just nothing really up front that you thought, oh, well, game over for them. We didn't exactly have many threatening attacks, let's put it that way. That's what I'm trying to say. The attacks were there, they just weren't overly threatening, and that's what I think has, not killed us off, but it's definitely not worked in our favour, and it's a shame. But at the end of the day, happily take a point. We haven't beat Rovers at Deepdale for a couple of years now, and I don't know exactly how many years, but I know it's a couple. But yeah, as it stands, very good point. I'm more than happy with it, but at the same time, it's one of those performances where you look at and you go, if we don't make those mistakes, we win this game 2-0. It's as simple as that. Or we could go on to make some more goals or whatnot, because obviously, like I said, when Blackburn were at the start of the game and they've got 2-0 up, it's almost as if they switched off like what we do normally, and we've caught them back up within the space of 5 minutes, and they come out in the second half almost as if they know, shit, we're on the front foot, we've got the momentum, defend, and see off the win, similar to what we do sometimes. And they've sort of they've allowed it to become a draw, like I said earlier, what we did at Norwich. So I can see what they did, and it worked like a T for them, but for us, it's not great. We could have done with those 2 points, because obviously 2 points dropped in this stage, especially where we are in the table and whatnot, it would have been mighty helpful. But There's always other games and whatnot, so it's not the end just yet, but this was I'd say it was a good point, well earned at home, and that is pretty much all I have to say. All I'm going to do now is check out our next game, which is Coventry on Friday, so you'll get a report from me either Saturday, actually no, we'll probably get it on Sunday, because Saturday I am a busy boy. Yeah, probably Sunday. So a week today you'll get the Coventry video, and then of course the week after that you've got the Hull game, and you know the story. So thank you to Don for watching. I appreciate everything this season so far. This feels like a nice little over halfway, but about 3/4 through the season nearly, and it's coming to the end pretty quickly, unfortunately. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks a ton, and I shall see you all next week when we talk about the Coventry game. Goodbye.